Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So, unfortunately, today my co-host Patrick Lau won't be joining because he is swamped with work. But nonetheless, welcome everyone to our newest episode of Fresh Money, where we have interesting conversations with the interesting people in the world of crypto. So, our guest for today will be talking about the world of GameFi and the company he founded. But before I bring him over, I just want to talk about the upcoming Philippine Web3 Festival. So let me share my screen. Right. So this is the biggest Web3 event in the Philippines. Those who aren't familiar, it will showcase the ongoing adoption of the Philippines and everything and anything about the world of Web3. So we have some of the global leaders speaking in this festival, such as Sebastian, co-founder of Sandbox, Peter Ng, the head of Philippines in Sandbox and the co-founder of Blockchain Space. We also have Yatsui of Amioka Brands and Jihos of Axie Infinity, and of course, Gabby Dizon, one of the co-founders of YGG. But not just that, we also have our very own Michelle Gaba. So he will be speaking in this event. Ren Xiong will be joining as the co-founder of Breeder DAO, Jen Bilango, and one of the crypto OGs in Colin Goltra. So make sure if you guys want to learn everything and anything about the world of crypto, be sure to join this festival because it's starting next week from November 14 to 18. And as additional gift for you, our dear communities, that we are giving you a discount code so that you will have a 20% discount by inputting PDAX. And upon checkout, you will have cheaper tickets. So the festival will be in BGC, in Marquis Events BGC Philippines. So make sure you guys join in to learn everything about the world of Web3 and have could be an opportunity as well to network your way and to know more people about the industry. And of course, we also have this sharing contest. So so guys, just share the stream, click that share button. You have a chance to win 300 pesos worth of crypto of your choice. So this will make your tickets for the upcoming Web3 festival even cheaper just by clicking a simple share button. So three winners will be chosen at random and announced at the end of the show. And winners will just take a screenshot of their stream as their name is flashed and send it to our Facebook page, and our team will get in touch with you for the next steps. And make sure also to have a PDAX account, a verified PDAX account, so we can credit the prize to you. So um, without further ado, I would like to bring over our guest. So our guest for today will be talking about everything about the world of crypto, and he'll be talking about the company he founded in Playgroundzero. So if you guys want to know what could be the emerging trends, the state of GameFi right now, make sure to stay tuned because we also have a quiz game later on wherein we will reward people who would answer the right questions. So make sure you stay tuned for all the things that we would discuss. So without further ado, let us all welcome Janze De Guzman, the CEO of Playgroundzero. Hey, Janze.
Hey, hi Jed. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you as well for joining. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. Really excited for our chat today, no? So
Mm.
before we go into the different industry updates or your outlook on GameFi itself, I just want to know what is your background before discovering crypto?
Yeah, sure. I can give a brief walkthrough. So, first of all, I started my career at the IMF at the height of the global financial crisis
Oh
in
wow.
2008. So, as you can imagine, an exciting time in the world, right? I did that for 4 years. Then I did my MBA in Georgetown. So, I do have a business background as well. After that, I did tech management consulting for banks in North America. So that kind of gives me that tech flavor in my career. So that sort of sparked my interest in tech. And then in 2017, I decided to leave my corporate job to start my first venture with my co-founder here in Playgroundzero. It was a sports management platform, actually kind of similar with Playgroundzero, just a different industry.
Mm,
Unfortunately, when we were launching it for beta, COVID hit in, I don't know, 2020, 2021, and we had our challenges because it's a physical platform. And we started kind of looking elsewhere, and that's when we started to get involved in GameFi. Just as everyone else in P2E, we got
yeah.
started in Axie Infinity, and that's probably the start of the beginning of Playgroundzero, albeit in a different name back then. But that was the start of our MVP, really. So it's been a varied background for me, and I think that's part of what I like being in this space. I'm able to kind of leverage all of them and use my varied background in economics, finance, and tech, and even startups to kind of make Playgroundzero what it is today.
Interesting background. So I just want to dial back on the your first venture, the sports management. So what sports were you focusing on, or were you tackling sports in general?
Yeah, the vision was for all sports, but
Mm,
we started with basketball because we are basketball fans
right.
ourselves, and we like to play in leagues. So the idea with that is, and it just give the amateurs the professional treatment. So this platform will allow league commissioners to set up their leagues and run their league through a season, and showcase their players and showcase their community members. But yeah, it was heavily focused on community members, just as Playgroundzero is. Um, it allows the commissioner to enter the stats of the players in the game, allows to upload highlights of videos, and run the playoffs automatically, and announce the championship, dish out awards and other forms of rewards. So really a lot of that venture, since we weren't able to launch it successfully because of COVID, was transferred into Playgroundzero to what it is today. Like Playgroundzero, it's heavily focused on the community, in
Mm,
enabling people to kind of scale what they have, and to enter the space, and provide them with the capabilities that they require to succeed in the space. But yeah, and that's a legit story. That's a real part of Playgroundzero's origin story, is that a big part of the code base that was used in our MVP was
yeah.
copied from that platform, and that
You
allowed
guys
us to
already had
build
the
it.
foundation.
Yeah, that allowed us to build it in like 3 short weeks, I believe, or the MVP at least, not the current one. But yeah, that was a huge inspiration for what we're doing right now.
Got it, got it. So very interesting. So, was the GameFi like the start? Was that the first time you heard about crypto, or did you hear about it earlier?
um yeah, I heard about crypto while I was still at the IMF. A colleague kind of mentioned
Oh,
Bitcoin to me.
2008.
Not 2000, I think it was 2011. Kind of we're kind of
Still
late to
early.
the game, still early, but it's been a few years, and we're like, John, have you heard about this thing called Bitcoin? And back then I wish we were more curious about it. And he was saying, oh, the price shot up to about 100, I forgot, or
Mm,
500, and then it kept fluctuating, and we're like, and we were working with currency, so naturally we were interested, but kind of shrugged it off. During that time, we were like, oh, it's probably just another tech gimmick. um but yeah, who would have known? Of course,
yeah.
there's some what ifs back there, right? But yeah, I didn't really get involved until maybe 2016, when the first crypto, or one of the biggest crypto bull runs started happening, right? 2016, 2017. That's when I started dabbling more into crypto. But yeah, I've heard about Bitcoin pretty early on. There are a lot of what ifs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you're more of a trader back then. You didn't really have your own venture yet on crypto. It's more of like speculating on the coins.
Yeah, not on the business side. So it's only
Yeah.
until like 2021 last year, or July last year, that we started getting involved on the business side, forming our own venture around crypto itself. Yeah.
Got it. So what attracted you to GameFi?
Oh wow. Well, I'm a huge gamer.
Oh,
That's
nice.
yeah, naturally part of my background. And then a friend, he knows we're into crypto. As our circle of friends were into crypto, dabbling, not major players. And he introduced the idea of this game wherein you can earn rewards and sell it on the market. And the first thing that came to our minds was Diablo 3. If you remember Diablo 3, it has
Yeah,
its own
yeah.
marketplace. You can buy the gold and sell it. And for the longest time, games have already had that feature, right? You can sell what you've earned on secondary markets, or quote unquote black markets, off of the main game client. But he said, with this system, you actually earn your rewards in crypto and can sell it on any exchange. So I found that interesting, given my finance and economics background, that the mention of currencies and coins and tokens while being in gaming, really picked our
Mhm.
interest. So we asked him to present this game to us, sort of as a joke, but we didn't think he'd take it seriously. So he scheduled like a 1 hour webinar with me and my friends, and he walked us through how to to play Axie and start earning. And I think after a week of that presentation, we formed our own teams. Our first probably 10 teams as a group of friends. So we
Mhm.
shared our resources, learned everything on how to set up a Ronin wallet, how to, buy the tokens, buy a team, what's a good team, and even sourcing for scholars. So that was really the beginning of it. So it took a week to kind of get started. Still a long time, given how easy it is these days to onboard in, traditional games. But
Mhm.
in a week, we were able to, form the beginnings of, what would be a large scale guild a few months later. And, a year later, a platform that we have now, to hopefully make that onboarding experience easier for other gamers.
Got it. Got it. So your friends seem to sold you really well on Axie Infinity for you to dig really deep into the rabbit hole. No. So what
Yeah.
was your inspiration creating Playground Zero?
Yeah, so like I said, everything started from that those first 10 teams, right? And then we
Yeah.
started scaling it. We really dug into the thick of things, with Axie, how to breed and how to scale,
Mm.
all how to score source scholars. And I think that latter part was the hardest part of the challenge. How do we find good players, to play our accounts? How do we find, you know, n- natural gamers, as we call it, those who are
Mm.
really interested in gaming, so that our accounts will be played properly. Naturally, we want everyone to have the opportunity to play our accounts, but at the same time, we also want to go for gamers who really find this fun and challenging. And that really became the start of our MVP for Playground Zero. We built this tool that would make it easy to find good players to kind of borrow our accounts. We created a platform where players can create their profiles, kind of signal what traditional games they played, and based off of that, they can send applications to our guild. And from that queue of applicants, we are able to shortlist and source our scholars, and then we'd match them to our accounts and lend them our accounts. That way, we were able to kind of increase our utilization of our accounts. Back then, I think, or at that point, I think we've had over 1,000 accounts. So you can imagine how hard it is kind of
Yeah.
managing those accounts daily. So what that allowed us to do is kind of lengthen the amount of time that scholars stay with us. Because our belief back then is, if you really like gaming, this is something that shouldn't feel like work to you.
Mm.
So Playground Zero's foundation was really based off of that. Like, how do we find the right people and match them with the right opportunities? And and right now that's where we are. It's all about opportunities. It's all about onboarding. It's about it's about offering the right opportunities and finding the right people to match with these opportunities.
Got it. Sounds very similar. It's kind of like LinkedIn, but for the GameFi space, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it started off that way too. It was really a profiles platform with a very simple application system. Now we have jobs, we have services. So
Mm.
with that, you can think of it as a combination of LinkedIn and Upwork. Jobs is more of a way for companies and guilds to kind of signal to the to the space, what their current needs are, and in return, applicants who are interested in these opportunities or jobs can apply. On the other hand, we have services where it's a similar concept, but it works the other way around. It's builders in the space who can create, post multiple postings and kind of signal what they are able to offer to the space, and then companies and guilds can reach out to them.
Got it. And one of our viewers has an interesting question. So, what are
Cool.
the opportunities available in Playground Zero?
Sure. So right now, I guess disclosure, we're still in private public beta, so we're still seeding the platform. It's one of the challenges of building a platform we found, as you know. But in terms of opportunities, we there are two. The demand side comes from two parts, right? One, the game companies, the game studios, I mean, and the guilds. So from the game studios, they're mostly, one of the things that we hear a lot about are playtesters. and it's something that I think is easily accessible to people who have already been have exposure in the space. If you've ever played Axie, Pegaxie, Cyball, I think this is something that should be checked out by people. Playtesters are currently in high demand because there are a lot of games being developed right now, especially in Web3, where non-traditional gamers or traditional gamers are not that familiar with. Web3 gamers certainly have an edge in terms of landing one of these playtesting spots. Aside from that, there are other roles that gaming studios are looking for. Streamers, influencers, community managers are also in high demand. Coaches, if you're looking to get into esports, if you're a serious esports uh, aspirant, you can look into that as well. So yeah, there are lots of opportunities that we want to bring over to the platform that are not available in traditional platforms like LinkedIn and Upwork. So we really are focused on GameFi as a space.
Got it. Yeah, it's a very interesting product. So you mentioned that you're also supporting guilds and game studios. So what opportunities or tools do you provide for these particular partners?
Right. So for game studios, it's mostly in terms of resources right now, more in terms of human resources for now. I mean, the scope will increase over time as we build out the platform. Perhaps we can also offer toolings to them. We plan to open up our API so that we can enrich the data available in the space. To guilds, um, we actually kind of pulled down our tooling section. So we used to build a lot of tools for guilds, and at the moment we had to pull them down due to uncertainty in the space. So the way we help guilds now is also through matching with resources. So we help connect them as well with game studios. So for example, when there are whitelist requirements from game studios or playtesting, so we also source resources from guilds to connect them with game studios because the talent really belongs to the guilds. We see them as the experts in the space. They know how to play these games. They make it their mission to be really involved in GameFi, in gaming, um, in blockchain gaming. So that's the role we see guilds playing. Kind of exceeding that, that play to earn era wherein it's all about scholarships and it's all about rethinking what other roles or what other expertise these guilds can provide for the space. We still are big believers of the roles of guilds in the space, and it may come in many forms, but certainly knowledge and expertise is something they bring to the table.
I think it's a very interesting point with the guilds. I think we can tackle that later after we discuss on
Sure.
Playground. It's a very interesting perspective. So to further delve into Playground Zero, can you explain to us the user journey for like let's say a scholar or a GameFi player trying to use your platform?
Right. It's very easy. So we try to make onboarding easy.
Mhm.
You just register on the platform, and then you can navigate to either the jobs or the services part of the platform. You can also take the time to enrich your profile. It certainly helps if your goal is to be found by one of the top guilds or one of the game studios in the space. But we expect users to mostly be navigating through the jobs posted on the platform. So as we onboard more partners and more companies, you'll see more jobs becoming more available. And the thing that we do differently is that we make roles part of your profile. We kind of want to standardize roles. If you're a play tester, if that's how you want to position yourself, or a streamer or an influencer or a community manager. That way, we can easily match you with opportunities that are already familiar with the gaming studios or are in high demand by the gaming studios. So by customizing your profile and by picking one of these roles, you make yourself easily searchable and reachable by these gaming studios. So if you're looking for an entry point into blockchain gaming or crypto or Web3 in general, do register. Check out the jobs page. There's a link at the top on the nav bar where you can start browsing some of the jobs that are already available from our game studio partners. It will become more populated as we seed the platform and launch towards Q1 of next year. But there's already stuff in there, and we're continuously populating them.
Got it. So, is there any KYC requirements when a user registers?
Right. So none to be, to be a registrant, to just be
Mhm.
a user on the platform. There really are none. We will enable wallet integration pretty soon. We're already testing it out. But we do verify users. So if you want that check mark beside your name, you do have to undergo KYC. And the
Mhm.
reason for this is, true to the nature of crypto, anonymity, and as an offshoot of that is credibility. And
Yeah.
that's something we want to help address, right? We want to make people feel secure in the space. So having that, I don't blue check mark beside your name will certainly help signal to people you interact and connect with that you are serious in your role in this space. Otherwise, if you're just there to check out whatever jobs are available or services you want to offer, you can do it for free. No need to do KYC, but just be aware that people tend to trust people who look trustworthy, and that's one way to do it. KYC.
Yeah, I know there's this stigma with KYC, but it's a good thing you guys have like an option to verify yourself to ensure that there's no scams for
Right.
the people side, right? So I'm just wondering, how many game partners do you currently have with Playground Zero?
I think live we may have. I'll give a range because our biz dev is busy at it, like 5 to 10, maybe live. We
Mm-hmm.
do have a queue on the background that we are maintaining. So we haven't made announcements on some of them yet, but we are building them up as we seed the platform. Um, that's all I can say. Perhaps closer to launch, we can start kind of marketing and making announcements on our socials.
All right, guys, better stay tuned on what's upcoming. So can you give an overview of some of the games that you currently partner with? Because I think some viewers may be interested in trying out the game testers. That's like a dream of a gamer, right? Playing games and to be able to earn out of it. So can you give an overview of at least some of the games that you've partnered with Playground Zero?
Right. So a few games. Let me see. Cryptopolis is a good game to check out. We've partnered with them. We've Give me a sec.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, yeah. It's all right. It's just that BizDev has been so busy.
Yeah, I can understand.
There's this Delysium. I'll pull out Delysium because they have an interesting take on the space as well. And I've recently been on a panel with them right
Hmm.
during a Web3PH summit. So I'll pull them out. So Deletion, you should definitely check out because um, they have a really interesting take on tokenomics in that they believe that the crypto or the tokenomics layer should be supplemental to the game. So they are a AAA game. They are based, I believe, in California, and their priority is fun. So I think that's really important in the space that fun is put at the center of things, and that's what I think is really key to win over traditional gamers, right? So do check them out. I don't want to dwell too much on this because I want to let them do their own marketing, but it's an interesting project. AAA definitely, and but they're looking to transition and really build up that Web3 layer as well.
Hmm.
But do check them out. I believe they're beta or they're officially launched just recently, so do check out Delysium.
How do you spell Elysium? I actually want to check it
Uh,
out.
D
Yeah.
DELYSIUM.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it, got it. Yeah, I'll check that out after this episode.
yeah.
So, what are your future plans for Playground Zero?
Right. So right now, our mission is really focused on opportunities, right? Um, I think our best case is to be the go-to place for anyone interested in entering and engaging in Web3. So there are two parts to that, right? Getting started and staying engaged. So
Hmm.
I think a lot of people were able to get started in P2E, in crypto, in Web3 gaming, but a lot were displaced. So it's really hard, especially during the scholarship days, to stay engaged because you're doing it 24/7. Sorry, it feels like a 24/7 job. You don't get to rest on weekends. So I think aside from the opportunities aspect of being able to offer and onboard people in Web3, we want to think of ways to keep them in Web3, to kind of make them feel like what we call crypto natives, right?
Mhm.
And that's our goal, be it through gamification or some other means. We want the platform to be the go-to place where people interact, where communities are formed, where rewards are shared, and we want it to be more of a collaborative space. It already is, but we want people to understand that nature of crypto and Web3, wherein it's a collaboration of builders, wherein you really have you can and you have, I guess to a certain extent it would be beneficial for you to be involved in your community. So I think on a bigger scale, that is what we hope Playgroundzero will be. It will be the first place you go to whenever you think about checking Web3 or blockchain gaming. And it goes not just for individuals but for companies as well, or other groups, other circles. If let's dabble in Web3 and blockchain gaming, let's go to Playgroundzero, because that's where you can get started and stay engaged.
Got it. I like the mission that you're trying to achieve. So I know from the start you're already addressing the pain point of making the onboarding process of GameFi easier. But I may have missed this. But how can you keep these people engaged with Playgroundzero or through Playgroundzero, since the current state of GameFi market's not really good from the earning side, and the games aren't so fun compared to the traditional games.
Right. So I think I mentioned one. Gamification is something we have, in the
Hmm.
books. It's a we're planning it out. We don't have a token yet, and that's kind of a big, um, you know, body of work for us. Like figuring out a way where we ourselves can sort of act like a game ourselves. So gamifying the platform and figuring out how rewards from different games can be utilized on our platform as well. So I don't want to give too much details.
Okay.
It's still something in the
Go
works, but
alpha
that's
leak.
the idea. Yeah, it's the idea. It's in our roadmap. So gamification will be in there, and it's more of, since we're interested in keeping people engaged, we want them to keep coming back, right? Most
Mhm.
platforms, you register, do a few things, and then you kind of lose track of it. So repeat use is something that is high on our priority list, and we believe gamification can accomplish that. And with gamification, there are rewards, and with rewards, there's crypto enablement. So I'll keep it at that for now, but that's kind of where our thinking is going.
So will that be part of your public launch, the gamification side?
A piece of it will be, I probably can say it now, like quests, missions will be there. It's just
Mm.
another form of enabling, matching. You can think of quests, getting rewarded for applying to jobs or offering services, successfully doing this or that. So there will be an initial reveal of what we have in store for gamification, but not the full suite yet.
Very interesting. I want to ask more, like, but I guess I have to respect the confidentiality. So, Kit Gervina, so a question. So, will you include or recommend match betting or score prediction for future Web3 game proponents?
Mm. That I certainly can see it working. Um, it's always been part of the gaming industry, and not just traditional gaming, we're in console gaming or mobile gaming, but gaming is in casinos, right?
Yeah.
um, Match betting, prediction markets have always been attractive, to gamers. I mean, I can see it happening. Maybe possibly even on our platform, it's something we can consider. I can probably share that, like something that it's an idea that's come up. But certainly anything where rewards are tied to actions, I think it's something that people naturally gravitate to. So yeah, definitely I can see it working in Web3, because you have tokens, you have it's an economics, um, environment. So yeah, definitely.
Got it. Yeah. So, Zeton Granger has an interesting question. So, this could be a good segue for our talk about the GameFi industry itself. So, what are the possible GameFi characteristics that would make it appealing to traditional gamers?
Right, interesting. I'll speak as a traditional gamer, and I think I've
Yeah.
shared a piece, some of this before, but it comes down to ownership and trading to me personally. So ownership, I think that's something that Web3 is offering that's unique, right? You get to own the assets that you earn and accumulate. And as gamers, we are, I don't know, I shouldn't speak for all gamers, but gamers are natural accumulators. When you grind games, you accumulate rewards, you accumulate things
Yeah,
in the game.
items.
Yeah, exactly. Items, weapons, whatever it, score. You accumulate score, right? So, but
Yeah.
something that happens at the end of a game is that you can't do anything with it. But something that Web3 enables is ownership of those rewards. Ownership of your weapons, your items, your character. And I think that's something as a traditional gamer that's interesting to me is when I jump from game to one game to another, I'd like to make use of that, of those rewards, whatever it is I've accumulated. I want to make the most of it. I want to be able to dispose of it quickly and get the max value out of them. Sure, I can do that now with black markets or um, you know other channels, but that doesn't guarantee that I'm getting the most value out of it, or doesn't even guarantee I can offload them. So I think that's some, and trading, trading these assets. I see it from a standpoint of liquidity. I mean, you guys are in exchange, so you are very familiar with liquidity. What that does is it makes two games that are popular um, being able to exchange items with each other or assets with each other. If I want to switch, if I'm playing two games at the same time, for example, and I get, a really high level item on one game, but I don't want to use it in that game, but there's another item on this other game that I want to trade it for. Web3 kind of enables that for me. I can trade an asset from game one for an asset in game two, and get the most out of both games. So I think trading and ownership are the two big things that would really hit it off well with traditional gamers. It'll enable a lot of use cases. It will generate a lot of interest. Just saying, hey, don't bother about grinding too much. Don't worry about getting duplicate items, or getting two god level items wherein you can only use one. Now you can trade one of those for another game. So I think that's a pretty exciting use case. So now you're just a gamer and you're playing multiple games, and you're playing sort of one big metaverse, as we call it.
Got it. Yeah, I think I agree with your point because I'm also a traditional gamer. I agree with those use cases for with regards to Web3 characteristics. No, but just to play a bit of devil's advocate with regards to your ownership side,
Mm.
and being the ability to sell it to legally, not in a black market, but with Steam, right? You can sell some of your items already there by the Steam marketplace. So what's the advantage of Web3 game compared to like the Steam marketplace?
Right. I think it's still the decentralized nature of Web3. So with Steam, you are limited. Again, I've talked about liquidity, right?
Yeah.
Um, so with crypto and Web3, you get max liquidity because it can be for anything that exists, right? Once this concept of one metaverse, one gaming universe. I don't know what the final marketing name will be for
Yeah.
whatever it is
It's
that we are
changing.
building. Yeah, it may change. Whatever it is that we're building, this new gaming universe, right? You
Mhm.
can be sure that whatever you own can be traded for something else. With Steam, it's centralized. You're right. There's a marketplace, but it's only limited to what's already in Steam, right?
Mm.
This would enable lots of You can sell it for stables. That's fine, which is already available in Steam. But you can also barter it like you would do in other games. Most games already have in-game marketplaces wherein you can trade items or barter assets. But I think it's that concept that it's as close to the real world as possible, wherein you can do whatever you want with whatever asset you have.
Mhm.
It's a powerful concept. It's new. Uh, and maybe I'll throw in there I forgot to bring this up, but duping, right? If you're familiar with duping, duplicating items
Oh yeah,
illegally,
yeah.
I think that's something that can be solved because that's the problem of most games, right? Duping destroys economies. Duping destroys in-game economies and it ruins the fun for everyone. So with NFTs, with Web3, since they're non-fungible, you'll get rid of duping and you have a more efficient market wherein liquidity is true, is real, and there's no waste of value in terms of flooding the market with, you know, 1,000, a million of a certain item, kind of destroying the entire market.
Great answers, great answers. Then, with regards to the trading, being allowing you to trade one item from one game to another, but to play devil's advocate again, right now I don't think there's any integration or interoperability yet between games. Each game has their own economy, so you can only trade within the economy. Not much integration yet. Do you think this will really happen, or it's just like a promise based on the underlying technology of crypto?
Right. What I can say to that is it's possible, based on the use cases we've seen. Uh, the thing is, I'm not big on predicting.
Okay.
I'm big on reacting. I'm a believer that the market will pursue whatever is the most efficient path, right? But I can say it's a possibility, and I would love to see that. I would love to just
Yeah,
be a
same.
gamer and feel, yeah, right. I would just love to be a gamer and feel, I don't know, I wouldn't say safe, but feel comfortable knowing that I can just grind a game and get something in return, not worry about how I will offload things.
Yeah,
So
additional
I'd
source
say
of
it's a
income.
exactly, yeah, it's supplementary income, right? But yeah, I agree. It's a hard question to answer, but it certainly can go there. Things can go there, and it's really hard to predict. See where we are now, like a decade ago, or where we are now with mobile phones. Touchscreen would have sounded crazy two
Mhm.
decades ago, or even 15 years ago, but here we are. It's a common everyday thing. So who knows? But it's certainly possible.
Mhm. Understood. Then I understand you're not a good predictor, but I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think gaming is the key for mass adoption for crypto, and why?
Right. It can be. It is a good avenue, I believe, just because people tend to be natural gamers. It's familiar with us. You perform an action, you expect to be rewarded for it. It's also easy to onboard people to gaming. Games tend to have good, instructions. They tend, a good game design keeps the user at heart, right? Like it keeps the user at the center of it. It's like how easily can I make this game understandable and playable to the user? And that's one of the main challenges of crypto is like, how do I make this sensible to someone if I'm explaining it for the first time? So with those characteristics of games, you can certainly leverage that aspect to make crypto more understandable and more appealing, even um, more appealing to a wider audience. There are about 3 billion gamers. I think that's certainly a large market you can go after, kind of introducing crypto. So yeah, I mean, we are in GameFi. Naturally, we are a believer in this. That's how I got started. I was onboarded, on the business side of crypto, thanks to gaming, and it played to my gamer side, to my gaming nature. So certainly, I'm a believer, and I think it is a good opportunity. And the use cases have already been proven. I think it's just we're in a rough patch. I think you know all markets are right
Yeah,
now, but
everywhere.
uh, yeah, exactly. It's not GameFi's fault. Certainly not. But the use cases are there. I think it's a everyone's kind of on a wait and see and experiment. Experimenting with what will click. But GameFi certainly has good opportunities in terms of onboarding more people to Web3.
Yeah, I'm a complete believer of also GameFi. I think it has a really interesting use case. But however, like when I check in social media and ask some of my friends who are mainstream gamers, they have this stigma with Web3 games. They think it's a scam, it's over financialized. So how do you onboard these mainstream gamers into Web3?
Right. So I'll give two reasons maybe to focus the conversation. One would be quality. Um, and quality has to be there because that's what trad gamers are used to. I mean, at least if you're thinking about the hardcore ones. But and when I mean by quality is not like 3D graphics, full blown. Oh, this looks like a triple A game. I mean game design, right?
Yeah.
Not all games require the highest end graphics, right? But good game design, something that will keep gamers engaged. You have all sorts of games. I play a variety of games from card games, CCG, Magic the Gathering, right? I play shooters as well. I play RPG. So the key is a good game design that ties well to the second part, which is tokenomics, right, or the reward system. um, I think a lot of the economies, a big part of the challenge recently was, balancing supply and demand. That's really what it all comes down to. How do you distribute rewards equitably, and you know actually that's it, and use cases for those rewards. Like right now, the main problem right now, I would say, or one of the main problems, is there's no other way to use the rewards than to sell them. And sell
Yeah.
pressure creates depreciating price, and with depreciating price, people get less engaged and less driven to play if they're just playing for money. So I think it's coming up with more use cases and coming up with better game designs. Those two, if you're able to pull off properly, will start, probably start getting the attention of traditional gamers. Yeah.
Hmm. I agree with your points. However, I think one of the stigmas also of these mainstream gamers are NFTs. They think it's like one of the ways to for companies to over financialize their gaming product. It's like loot boxes, microtransactions. So that's what they associate it with. Um,
Mm.
I remember there was this game. I think Tom Clancy. I forgot which one. They announced that they were including NFTs, but they received bad feedback from their community. So um, they canceled it. They declined adding NFTs. So with that, do you think we need to brand NFTs to make it more acceptable, in the same way how Reddit, wherein they
Mm.
rebranded NFTs into digital collectibles, which allowed more users to take advantage of the technology?
Right. Yeah. Great point with Reddit, Jed. That was a good example of how you can repackage or rebrand something, and kind of move away from the stigma that has been known for. So yeah, I don't. I think it would be beneficial, for gaming or for Web3 gaming, to rebrand NFTs, um, even for just one simple reason, that NFTs have been associated with a lot of things, or with other industries as well. And the danger is with that is that you have no control over those industries, with how people behave in those other areas, right? I mean, NFTs have been associated with art, with music, some are just profile pics, right, or just collectibles. So by rebranding its use cases, and what NFT stand for, to gaming, you as an industry kind of decide what this thing is and how it will behave in this ecosystem. I think that's a powerful concept, because that
Mhm.
gives
Yeah,
the industry as a whole ownership to this idea, right? It's
yeah,
like, and web, yeah, exactly, and Web3 being a very community centric, um, um, I'm losing word, but it being community centric, right? Will really kind of rally behind that idea that we own this, whatever we call it. I can't think of a name right now, but we own this. This is to our industry, and we decide how it is used, how it behaves, and how it works. So, I think it would be beneficial to start dissociating, and kind of start owning what it is that NFTs will be named for gaming.
got it, got it. Yeah, I love your thoughts on it, on like how
Do
owning
you have, perhaps you have a good acronym for this? I can't come up with one on the spot,
like a
but
name.
yeah,
I
like a
don't know,
catchy.
gaming asset. I don't know, digital asset, but I think that's too general though. I'm sure
Yeah,
someone come up better. Some are more giga-brained than
right.
me. But yeah, I think that's a good point. I think we really need to have some sort of rebranding, because I think in the end of the day, I think NFTs or even crypto in general, I think once mass adoption happens, people won't even realize that we're using crypto or even NFTs. It's just like a regular app or regular product, but the underlying technology is blockchain and NFTs.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier with regards on the uncertainty with the guilds, right? So what's causing this uncertainty with the different gaming guilds and crypto?
Hmm. Um, I wouldn't call it uncertainty for them per se. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but
Hmm.
I think it's more of figuring out what to do next, or how, they've been major players in the space. They've been major drivers of how far this space has gone. So I think it's that, they everyone's waiting to see what's next, or what's gonna happen with GameFi. And with guilds, there's a lot who were displaced because they relied heavily on the scholarship model. They acted like and basically a fund who were kind of buying assets and utilizing them. But of the guilds that I see that are still around, they are the ones who really treated it like a community. They figured out that there are many roles that people can play within the guild. They thought of it from an organization standpoint, right? Like, we are a guild, we're a collection of people who enjoy gaming and enjoy sharing in the rewards as well. So that's, if I were to segregate guilds or the types of guilds, I'd separate them into those two groups. Those who were in it because they were in it for the monetary rewards, and they were just basically a fund investing and utilizing the rewards or the returns. They think in ROI. And then there are the guilds who think of themselves as a community, who think in terms of fun and building together and sharing together. And as what the recent downturn has proven is that it's the latter who have survived. And I think these guys have proven that they're resilient because they're in it for the right reasons. And that's why we're a firm believer that these types of guilds will still stick around. Like I said, they've built the expertise, they know the ins and outs of GameFi or Web3 gaming. So they will stick around and they will figure out what what's to do next. And like I said, we are already kind of starting to see, maybe we're thinking along those same lines, that there are lots of opportunities even for these guild members, these community members, that they can start specializing on, because a lot of the traditional gaming roles will still translate to Web3. But on top of that, Web3 gaming offers a lot of new other roles, right? And I think it's only a matter of time wherein these guilds, some of them are already doing it, right? They're already offering services to game studios. They're already figuring out how they can extract more value from their communities, get everyone more engaged. So I think it'll only be a matter of time before another big wave like the scholarship model comes around. It'll probably be a couple of more iterations before GameFi settles on what it is to become. But these guilds are resilient. They're in it for the right reasons. I believe they'll figure things out, and we're here to help and work with them.
Yeah, great points, great points. So, what other trends do you think will emerge from the GameFi space?
Ooh, trends. Well, one particular trend we're interested in is really the competitive nature of Web3. In fact, we've thought about this early this year. Even before the downturn, we were trying to, again, not predicting, but kind of like seeing the
Yeah,
signs,
yeah,
that this can't last. It's not sustainable. So one of our hypotheses is like Web3 gaming will trend towards a competitive nature again. So esports certainly was in the
esports.
conversation. Yeah. And I think a few months later, that's that hypothesis started to get proven, and then people got more interested in really building out more competitive axie teams, forming coaches and groups, and really learning and building, and then breeding even these unique builds, aside from the common builds of last year. So I think esports is something that will continue to trend in blockchain gaming. It's you know it's the low hanging fruit, if you ask me. It's Trad has proven that this model will work. um, but if I were to make sort of a bold guess, it's collaborative gaming. And I think it's
What do you mean by that?
collaborative gaming, yeah, that goes beyond the traditional gaming sense. So it's really going to be a community thing. Where one game, it's composed of builders, or traders or warriors and all that. So that's one of the things that we really imagine for the space, that guilds will really act like guilds of the olden times, wherein you join a guild, you
A
say what.
specialized guild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and you can even have that, like, specialized guilds. Like, we're all traders, we're all merchants, or you are a multi-role guild wherein you dabble in everything. Um, but that's kind of one way we imagine the trend to be. It's going to be collaborative, wherein everyone's really in it to make things work. And I think that's what's really special in this whole Web3 and blockchain gaming movement.
yeah. I like the idea of collaborative gaming. I think one of the the dream games I'm thinking about. See, like, have you played RuneScape?
I didn't, but I know of RuneScape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
RuneScape. Like imagine
that
like World of RuneScape or World of Warcraft, where the economy is run by the players themselves and the community instead of like the the code, but actually like if you have a seller, if you have a merchant, that's another player from another side. If you have like a king, that's an actual player instead of an NPC. So I think that's very interesting.
right, and that's why they're still around, right? I mean,
Yeah,
their users, their core users, are still as engaged.
they still
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
GameFi must be really good. Yeah. So I just want to ask more about the esports side. If we trend towards more to the esports or competitive side of Web3 games, I think it may affect the casual gamers who don't have the time to really play the game and be to really improve to get good with the game. So how can they add this as a supplemental income, or is that even possible for the casual gamer if ever we trend to that particular space? Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's still possible. Like esports always tends to appeal to the hardcore gamers, right? In
yeah,
any game, but there usually is a layer of casuals. You know, a lot more. I'm a casual player as well. You know, I played
same.
Dota 2. Yeah, yeah. I tend to be on the casual side, but even with Dota 2, right? Like I'm on the casual layer. You know, I just play for fun with my friends, and then you have the esports players who are really hardcore and into it. But as a casual, I enjoy both playing the game and watching the hardcore players play the game.
Mhm.
And as a casual player, you know, there are still ways for me to earn rewards. Like, I mean, maybe the mechanics are not there yet for casuals, but you know, Axie has proven that it can be done. While at the same time proving that, you know, the hardcore players, the pro players, can also get rewarded. So they've proven at least, you know, a semblance of that model, or those two models can exist, right? So again, it all comes down to tokenomics. Like what what will be the mechanism that will make things work? And it's a really tricky thing because you're talking about, you know, that's how the world works, right? Economics drives things, supply and demand, you know, wants and
Yeah,
needs. And but you know, the proof has already been there. It can work. It's just a matter of, you know, fine tuning, you know, the details. And you know, and I'm sure all the game studios out there are figuring it out. So at least we can, you know, be comfortable with the idea that people are looking into it and trying to figure it out. But definitely, I think casuals will still play a role despite, you know, the pro scene being, you know, still on the spotlight. But there's nothing stopping casuals from enjoying and, you know, partaking in the rewards of GameFi.
got it. Yeah, yeah, great point. So it's almost the top of the hour, so we're about to wrap this up. But before I ask you the last few questions, one of our viewers is asking if Playground Zero is accessible on the mobile.
Yeah, it is mobile adaptive for now. It's We're still on the website. We don't have an app, but it's very much mobile adaptive. You can use it on your mobile. You can visit the website and register and start checking things out.
Great, great. So I think that's all the questions from the community because the others were already answered as you were speaking.
Oh, quickly to go back
Oh
on your casuals thing, I just thought of an idea. The betting question a while ago. As a
yeah, I
casual,
was gonna
you
mention
can
that
bet
betting could be
and predicting. Yeah,
that's a
as a
way to
casual,
earn. You can bet
yeah,
on the
exactly.
esports scene. Maybe one of your product ideas in the future.
Probably, you know.
All right. So, Janzi, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed chatting with you and picking your brain on the GameFi space. So, before we wrap up, any shout outs?
Right. First, shout out to the entire PGZ team for, you know, dedicating themselves to our mission. There's too many to mention, so I'll keep it fair. Also, a shout out to all our partners who we work closely with. Without you, you know, we probably wouldn't be here in our current state. We probably won't be able to launch next year, early next year. So, thanks to everyone.
All right. So, as tradition, I'm going to ask you Pat and I's favorite question. So, this is
Hmm.
something we ask all of our guests at the end of the show. So, Janzi, so far, who and what are you most thankful for in your crypto journey?
Okay. Can I name a few? A few. Okay.
Of course, of
Uh,
course.
I'll start with my family for supporting me in this journey. You know, it's not the usual journey transitioning from trad to crypto full time on a dime, full stop. So thanks for supporting what I'm doing and for trusting me in this journey. Second probably would be that coworker who first introduced me to Bitcoin and crypto more than a decade ago. without you, I don't think the interest would have been as powerful. I mean, I certainly would have run into crypto at some point, but the interest kind of just built at the back of my head. Yeah, and lastly, possibly to our investors who made this journey um, possible. We wouldn't be here building in a bear market if not for them. So, funding is keeping us afloat, and we're very keen on solving problems and helping the space grow.
All right, great answer, Janzi.
And
Thank you again.
and
Oh,
thanks,
sorry.
yeah, thanks,
Go ahead.
Jed and PDAX for having us here and hosting us.
It's our pleasure. Really enjoyed this, and I'm sure our viewers learned a lot about GameFi. I'm sure they're also looking forward to what your product will become. So, Janzi, again, thank you so much for your time, and see you around.
All right, thank you. Bye.
See ya. All right, guys. So I hope you guys learned a lot, and we it's a very interesting conversation with John Z, learning about GameFi, his thoughts, his prediction, how he plans to address the problem of onboarding more crypto users and helping them stay engaged in the Web3 space despite the bear market. So I think now we're gonna announce some of the winners of the sharing game. So Angelo, please share your screen for the wheel of names. All right. So our first winner for our sharing contest is Paul Andre Aliwate. Congratulations, Paul. You just won 300 pesos worth of crypto. Just take a screenshot of this stream and send it to our Facebook page to claim your reward. Make sure also to have a verified PDAX account so you can claim your prize. Our next winner is Kit Jorvina. Congrats, Kit. One of our regulars. Glad to have you here again. So congratulations, Kit. You won 300 pesos worth of crypto. And you just have to PM our Facebook page. And our team will get in touch. And our last winner for the sharing contest is Aljon De Mencero. Congratulations, Aljon. You just won 300 pesos worth of crypto. So just take a screenshot and PM our Facebook page. All right. So thank you everyone for participating in the sharing contest. But don't worry, you guys still have more chances to win prizes because we will still have this sharing game. So let me just share my screen. I mean the quiz game, sorry. So to those who aren't familiar with what the quiz game is, so questions will be flashed on the screen and viewers will type just 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the comment section for their answer. Make sure just type the number and not the answer itself. So correct answers would have a chance to win 500 pesos worth of crypto. And first person to answer gets the prize. And there will only be 3 winners for this. To claim your prize, winners would just have to take a screenshot as your name is flashed and PM our page with your email, name, and phone number. All right, so are you guys ready? You guys are ready? Type Y in the chat. Come on, guys, type Y so we can begin our game. All right, the Ys are coming in. All right, let's begin with our first question, and I hope you guys listened. So in 3, 2, 1. So what is the first Web3 game that Janzi tried? Is it CryptoKitties back in 2017? Is it Axie Infinity? Is it Splinterlands? Or is it Sandbox? Right. The correct answer for this one is Axie Infinity. So congratulations, Mark Chua Perez. You just won 500 pesos worth of crypto. So just take a screenshot and PM our page to claim your reward. Congratulations, Mark. All right. So for our second question, in 3, 2, 1. So what pain point is Playgroundzero trying to solve? Is it to onboard more users and to stay active in Web3, make Web3 games interoperable with one another, create more sustainable economies for Web3 games, or is it simply to make Web3 games fun? So, what do you guys think is the answer? Right, so we got our winner already. Congratulations, Marlon Saluntao, for winning 500 pesos worth of crypto. So just take a screenshot of this stream and PM our Facebook page, and our team will get in touch with you. Right, last chance, guys, to win the prize for this episode. So in 3, 2, 1. So Playgroundzero is designed for players, guilds, studios, or all of the above. Right. So we got our answer already. So the correct answer for this one's number 4. So Playgroundzero is designed for all these players, guilds, and studios. Congratulations, Steven Caryasa, for being the first person to answer this question. You just won 500 pesos worth of crypto, and you just have to take a screenshot and PM our Facebook page in order to and our team will get in touch with you for the next steps. Congratulations, Steven. So that wraps up for our episode for today. So again, everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Unfortunately, Pat wasn't able to join because he is swamped with work. But don't worry, in the coming episodes, he will be joining us again. So make sure to stay tuned and don't forget to use our PDAX code for if ever you want to go to the Philippine Web3 Festival. And maybe we will see you there. So again, thank you everyone and have a good week ahead. Cheers.